Don't hurt yourself.
All right. Should be on. Good evening once again, and welcome to yet another episode of 10 Minutes with Ronald, the show that nobody asked for, yet somebody is watching. We are figuring out our technical difficulties as we speak. There you go.
There you go.
And just click on the video, but turn the sound off. Yeah. There you go.
Is it off?
Should be off.
Yep, you're good to go.
Yeah, well, I put the volume down. But,
Perfect, and you'll see their comments go up. And we have 5 viewers.
Hey.
You guys are popular. All right, so I am here, deep in the dirty South.
It's not that deep.
In Dumfries. Here with my good friends, Harry and Cherelle Lamptey.
What's up?
Tell me a little bit about yourselves.
Well, we are, like you said, Harry and Cherelle. We're here. We're living in Dumfries. Moved here about, I would say, October last year, so about 10 months ago.
Okay.
Of course, we have a newborn, young Roman. We've been married now for coming on 2 years.
When did you guys meet?
We met
2006.
Okay.
Yes. We met 2006 at VCU.
Mm-hmm.
At a nice little establishment.
Okay.
A place we like to frequent.
What was the place?
Big Daddy.
Whoa, time out. I
don't think you needed to do the shoulder shimmy
right.
in order to.
It was a bar, a little happy hour.
What's Big Daddy's?
You remember Big Daddy?
No.
Did you you might have graduated by then.
No, dog. I was there for a minute. I
You
stayed
were
there
there
till
for a
after
while.
you
It was
left.
like a really
I did a victory
Big
lap.
Daddy's was
really
on
popular
Main.
spot on Main Street.
Oh, okay.
That a lot of people went to.
So
Okay.
Big Daddy's had
For
the
happy
50
hour.
cent drinks.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So we were happy hour. We had mutual friends.
Mhm.
So she came one time with our mutual friends. And
Who are your mutual friends?
Maxine.
Oh, Hat Girls.
the infamous bad girls.
Who else was there? I don't think.
I remember you, and everything else is kind of blurry.
Yeah, because we had been. Yeah.
Because you had been what?
No,
Drinking,
it wasn't
drinking
that.
a lot of chocolate milk,
Yeah.
as they say.
Exactly.
All right.
No, but it was a couple of them. We used to go there every week, and we kind of ran into each other. Exchange information, and the rest is history, as they say.
I'm still listening. I'm just pulling up my questions.
Gotcha.
Oh, gotcha.
All right. So the whole idea behind doing is everything working? Anybody have any problems?
Don't know.
What is that? I don't like that. All right. If you're watching, comment if there's any sorts of technical difficulties because we can't see them and I still don't have a producer yet. Mic closer to your guest. Oh, y'all, they can't hear y'all. Just try to speak into the mic when you talk.
Okay.
Yeah. They're soft-spoken, so that's all it is. All right. So anyway, I wanted to talk about parenting because I am at a place in my life where I am understanding more about my own parents, but
Okay.
I have lots of my friends and people around me that are the same age that are all having kids.
Okay.
And actually varying ages, to be honest. But we don't ever really sit down and talk about like what happens and the changes that happen. So you guys are the first in the series. It'll start with y'all. We'll go to parents of young children, then teenagers, then parents of adults, and talk about the whole gambit and how it goes. So do y'all have any initial thoughts, or what do you guys think of? Like, do you guys have any first thing that comes to mind when you guys think of what parents are, what they should be?
Well,
Providers.
yeah, I think definitely first thing that comes to mind, especially from a father's standpoint, is being a provider and a protector. I mean, not only of the child, but your wife, your whole family.
Mm-hmm.
So that's initially what definitely comes to mind.
Okay.
Making sure that everybody's straight, everybody's good, and being a good example. Especially for the kids, because nowadays they can get into everything.
Absolutely.
With social media, you don't know what kind of path they might go down, how their friends might influence them. So a lot of that stuff starts at home, being a good example. So a lot of that stuff definitely comes to mind, for sure.
So it seems like a lot of the qualities you said are talking about kind of generic parent, but they automatically fell into the category of father, and that's why because you are a father.
Right.
But for mothers, what do you think?
I feel like just more so like that motherly, like just a caregiver, like a provider. From a stand, yeah, like a nurturer, like you just like all in one in that package, just making sure that your child is well taken care of. We instill values in them, just making sure that he's going to be raised in a respectful manner.
So what were your initial thoughts when you found out you were pregnant?
Excited, like blessed, but at the same time, I think we both were kind of like nervous.
Right.
And for me, kind of a little bit scared because it's kind of like a weird feeling, like kind of like, wow, like there's a baby inside of me. So that's like,
right.
It's like mind blowing, you know? Like when I look at him now, it's still like mind blowing.
Yeah, it's still kind of surreal. You're like, wow, I created you.
Yeah.
So it's like you guys are in awe of like
a mix of emotions.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
How did you feel when you found out she was pregnant?
I mean, definitely excited. I mean, I could say he wasn't, necessarily planned, so it wasn't like we've been, because people have different experiences.
Well, you guys know how they're made, right?
Of course.
Yeah. But we weren't like, okay, we're ovulating.
You're right. You know what I mean? Like, it's about that time. Let's.
Yeah, it wasn't like
get to work.
that.
It wasn't like that. So I mean, it happened, and I'll say, I guess it was a pleasant surprise.
Okay.
So it was something that it wasn't necessarily planned, but we embraced it. And I mean, of course, that excitement hits you like, wow, I'm about to have a child,
I think for guys, it's typical to have like kind of like a oh crap moment. Did you ever have that? Or?
Oh, of course, because you're thinking like, okay, not only because we were just married for probably a couple months, so you find out,
how many months were you married?
October. Probably about 6 months, I would say.
And how many months after you got married did you have the baby?
How many months after we got married?
Yes.
It was probably a year.
Okay,
Dang, I'm bad with calculations.
Good.
Because we got married in 2014.
That's right.
Oh, no, we definitely succeeded.
Oh, you trying to get a little math?
Come
Like,
on, man.
You were carried the one. It looked like y'all was like, no wonder you weren't drinking at the wedding.
Right. No. Nah, but he was after. He was born in 2016.
Yeah, say really, Ronald? Like, really? Come on, man.
Come on.
That's my sister. Okay. So now that you were talking about the influence that people can have on your kids,
right,
and all that. So these are things like, so we all went to college together, and we like,
right.
I mean, you talk about where you guys met,
right,
and we knew like you guys are both Greek. We traveled all in the same circles. We went to parties. We did all that stuff.
Right.
So how do you look at that, like your life that way through the lens of now being a parent? Do you feel like there's some sort of separation now?
You know what? It's weird because like you think about how we grew up. It's like a whole different generation. So, I mean, you think about like the things you used to do and, would I let my kid do that? Would I let my child do that? A lot of the things I'm like, nah, I wouldn't let him do it. But at the same time, like
what though?
Yeah, I was going to say specifically.
But, all right, think about it. When we were kids, like the first inkling was to, all right, I'm going to go outside. I'm going to go play. You'll be outside
I don't want my child going
early
outside.
In the morning.
Yeah.
Till the lights go off.
Yeah.
And back then you had no connection. I mean, your parents pretty much had
No
to call
phone.
around to your friend's house.
The light, the light.
There.
Yeah.
The light,
You know
when
what I
the
mean?
light
Or
comes
some
up.
people,
Yeah,
you
the
couldn't.
street light,
Yeah.
Some people, you couldn't get off the block or whatever it is. But with us, I mean, we were going all over the place, and I can't imagine nowadays. Nah.
Yeah.
You're not gonna be riding your bike all through the neighborhood. It's just not gonna happen. Even though we have more access with the cell phones and stuff, nah, I can't let that happen.
I actually had the thought where I actually was out. I was thinking when I was a kid, I didn't understand how my parents watched us when we'd be outside for hours,
right?
And she'd literally be like, check in every half an hour or so,
right.
And I mean, we'd forget,
right?
And then like 6 hours later, we'd come home and they weren't even looking for us. You know what I mean?
I can't imagine that.
Yeah, I can't imagine that today.
Yeah,
Does that
no.
even happen today?
Yeah,
I don't even know if kids really. I mean, kids don't really go out like we did.
Yeah.
No, they don't
when we were
play.
younger.
That's why they're kind of like
So-
overweight. They just like watch TV, play video games. They're like on their phones.
I've seen some kids outside,
So-
but it's not like.
They're playing Pokemon Go now.
Yeah, they are.
They're outside.
Okay. I mean, so are you, aren't you?
Oh, okay. All right. All right.
I mean,
Let's
hey.
let's
Moving on.
Let's move forward amicably. So, do you guys plan on having more children? As of right now, you guys are 6 months in, so it's still pretty early.
6 months.
We definitely want more kids.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, we're in no rush to have another one like tomorrow, but I think eventually, of course, we would want to have more kids. We're not trying to have like 6 or 7.
Okay.
Now, if you would have asked us that like the first 2 weeks, I'd probably been like, nah.
Now we good.
But now that like it's like more established, we kind of have our routine going on. It's like, oh, I can do this again.
Yeah, but the timing though, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like parents that have younger kids, even though I've heard a lot of people say you should try to have kids close in age. But man, if you have a couple of young kids together at the same time, that's a huge responsibility, man.
Yeah, and then they go to college at the same time.
Yes, that's true.
So I don't know if you guys have set up your like 501c3 or whatever they're calling it now.
Oh yeah, the must think like a 519.
318K49.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's something you got to think about.
Yeah.
You know, college is expensive. You know.
Cherelle, do you have siblings?
No.
You're an only child? Okay, and you have a brother and a sister.
Yeah.
So you probably have more feelings about being raised with siblings.
Right.
Well, and I imagine, do you feel like because Roman right now is an only child, you would want him to have his siblings based on your experience?
No, not necessarily. I mean, I definitely want. Okay.
You think so? Come on.
What do you mean?
So when you were growing up, you mean to tell me you didn't want siblings?
I did want siblings growing up, but as I got older, I mean, like, I reaped the benefits. Like everything was for me. Like, you know what I mean? I didn't have to share.
Ooh. But come on, that's like a real value that you need to learn growing up is sharing. I mean,
it is, but I shared with other people,
like you don't
my
have to,
friends and things of that nature. But, you know, like when you're a teenager, you're kind of like past that. You're kind of like with materialistic things. But now as I get older, yes, I do wish I had siblings so that, you know, I could have like a sister or a brother that I could talk to, or maybe have like fat family gatherings, and it's not just me and my parents. You know what I mean? Like. Just me and my parents. So it's kind of like boring. You know, if we had a little bit more, you know, if I had siblings, they had kids, you know, kind of be like a big family. But I don't really have that.
So I think right now, I'd say you guys are both pro-sibling.
I'm pro-sibling. I mean, growing up with siblings,
it's fun.
I couldn't imagine being an only child. You know? What do you think?
I have a sister, so I'm all about people having siblings. Like me and my sister, it's weird because I feel like our relationship blossomed when we became adults. Yeah. Like we were kind of cool. Like we were loyal when we were younger, but now we're friends. Like beforehand, we were just like, my mother said back each other up, so we did blindly. But then at some point, we made a choice to become friends, and I think that's when it got really better.
Right.
And I think most siblings will go through that.
I think so for sure. Yeah.
What have you guys come to appreciate the most about each other since becoming parents?
What did you say?
We'll start with you. We'll start with you, Harry.
Start with me.
Yeah. What have you come to appreciate most about Cherelle since she became a mom?
Oh man, you know what? Women have to sacrifice a lot. Yeah, not only in carrying a child. You know, you have to give up drinking. You know, give up eating certain things. You know, it takes a lot to you know, bring a child to that term. So I mean, I appreciate the sacrifices that she's put in. You know, even after Roman was born, you know, she does, you know, pumping. So that takes a huge sacrifice of time and a commitment. You know, you have to wake up. You know, you're on a schedule. I have to, you know, make sure that this milk supply is right because, you know, this child has to eat. So I mean, she sacrifices a lot with the time, and I mean, it's unbelievable. I can't believe that. I mean, the woman's body, the human body, is amazing, and I think she has done a great deal of work, and she put in a lot of work and time, and I don't tell her enough how much I appreciate it.
And what have you come to appreciate about Harry since he's become a father?
Oh, so Harry has always been patient, but since this process, he's been like extremely patient with, you know, me as a wife.
No.
And
you're fine.
especially with our son. But I mean, he's an amazing father, and I say this all the time. Like, I am truly blessed because he's like, you know, really hands-on with Roman. So like, I just appreciate that he's really hands-on with him as far as like changing diapers, like feedings, reading to him, playing his jams, laying him down. Sometimes he puts him to sleep better than I do. So overall, I mean, like, just an awesome husband and father.
So would you guys say that having a kid made you guys appreciate different qualities about each other that maybe you hadn't noticed as much before?
Yeah, I could say that.
Yeah, I think.
Say that.
Yeah, I would agree to that. I think it, with a child, it kind of brings out more, you know, like the things that you probably like, you know, you go about every day. Not necessarily you take it for granted, but you're like, yeah, he did this. But to actually like see it with your, you know, your son, it's just, I don't know, it's just different.
Yeah.
I always I always see him interact with kids like if we go somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
But to actually physically see him with our son is just like different, you know? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, were you about to say something?
Oh, no, go ahead.
So, let's get down to the nitty gritty. So a little bit,
That wasn't the nitty gritty?
Oh no, now we're about to get to the nitty gritty. So how has, Harry, that's such a distinctly Harry move. Like, all right, let's do this.
Let's get it in.
So how do you guys feel like your views about pop culture and politics have changed since you guys have had children and had a child? And the reason why I say this is sometimes, for instance, when we talk about feminism, and I know for most of my close male friends that, or any of my male friends in general that have had womanizing backgrounds, and that's not applying this to either of y'all, but when they have a daughter, their whole mind changes. It's like, okay, wait a minute, that is a woman. Right. I can't be treating women like this. This changes. So with that in mind, how do you guys feel like your worldview has changed with regards to the things that you guys see and hear now that you guys have a son?
Man, I mean,
I don't know if anything has changed with me, really.
I mean, some things may not change. I think some things have remained the same. I mean, as far as like that example of you know, being a womanizer or whatever it is, I mean, I could see that, but it's like if it takes you having a daughter to change your views, then come on. I mean, let's be real.
Yeah.
The person that you were womanizing, somebody's daughter,
absolutely,
somebody's little niece, something like that. So I mean,
I think that's like how you were. I can't say brought up because.
I mean, everybody's different, but I mean, for us with Roman, I mean, like we were talking about earlier, it's a different, you know, day and age, it's a different time.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of these kids have different access to things that we didn't have growing up. So that's going to take an adjustment. Like, for instance, I mean, social media. You got little kids now getting bullied,
committing suicide.
Wow.
Yeah.
Kids are committing suicide based on the cyberbullying.
Yeah.
I mean, we had to deal with, you know, bullying in school, or, you know, if people got bullied.
We joked on your shoes.
It was different.
I mean, it was different.
Like, you know, if we joke, we joke on each other. You know what I mean?
You know.
It was like, you know, whatever. But, you know, kids, you know, depending on, you know, their mentality, they may not be able to take some of that stuff. And people go real far. You know what I mean? So it's not like it's just within your school or within your house. It's showing it's going out.
Yeah.
To the internet, everybody's seeing it.
Absolutely.
It's getting put to blogs. Now you're embarrassed in front of the world.
Yeah.
So that's a whole different beast right there. I wouldn't say I would want to limit, you know, my child from that, but I still have to be kind of mindful of, you know, what they are accessing, how they're accessing it, how they're interacting with people, especially with social media. I think that's kind of the main issue.
It's kind of scary, though.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things that I feel like I have to cross that bridge when I get to it, because he's 6 months old.
Absolutely.
I don't know how, you know, this social media is going to change.
Social media anymore. It may be like, I mean, it could be. I mean,
you know what though? I feel like when we were kids, it was TV. They were like, stay away from TV and video games. Y'all play too much Mortal Kombat.
Play too much. Yeah.
Now it's like there's literally, I feel like the avenues for which children have to go astray are so complex now, which is why I'm not envious, because I'm like, you can't even give them a cell phone without that being a portal into something else completely.
Exactly.
And I don't know, for me personally, that's one of the things I think about, especially when it comes to social media. Like, do you guys think that you'll allow Roman to like get a Facebook when he's like 9 or
9?
No.
But
I mean too, like we were talking earlier too, that I guess like just us being mindful, because we have social media too, but us as parents being mindful of us limiting how much we're like scrolling through our phone, and him actually seeing us do that, because we don't want him to be like, okay, we're at dinner and he's like phone, you know what I mean? Like we want to have some type of interaction, we want to talk, we want to, how was your day, X, Y, and Z. So I think more so maybe limit it. Like,
I think my plan is I would like to keep him too busy, with other activities, so he's bored to be too involved into, I mean, of course you can have it at when the time is right, but I mean, it's got to be the right age. 9. I mean, I know that's an example. 9. I don't know. I mean, a lot of kids are having phones. I mean, at younger ages.
I know.
I don't know. I think it's.
And then you said it. I said I didn't want Roman to have a phone. He was like, he's gonna get joked on. He's gonna get bullied.
What you mean? Like, at what age?
Well, he won't get bullied online if he doesn't have a phone.
You're right.
He'll just get bullied in real life.
He'll
like
be
the
on
rest
the computer,
of
like, you're like, yo, you still on the computer? I get you some wireless and phone.
So, I noticed that both of you guys are black. Like, what? So, how do you guys feel about raising a black man
in
today's
scary.
age?
I mean, yes. I mean, especially in today's age, these day and times, with what's been happening in recent history. I mean, just the past few weeks, it is scary. I mean, you got to think. I mean,
I don't even know how to expand on that. Just as a mother,
I mean, I would like to think that I don't want to say that all cops especially with the issue that they're bad. Of course they're not, but we're gonna have to teach them how to move differently. You know what I mean? Which it sucks to even say that, or even to think that my child has to move differently than every other child because he's a black male. But maybe,
or it's just scary to think that you could raise your son and
you can raise him perfectly right,
like respectful, manners and X, Y, and Z, and then an interaction may happen and something just to think of that, you know what I mean?
Yeah, somebody else's prejudices or racism could just trigger whatever. I mean, even if he's doing everything to the T according to the law, or just like you said, being respectful. Somebody could just, I mean, anything could happen. I mean, he doesn't necessarily have to be black for that to happen, but it's definitely something you keep in the back of your mind. But, I mean, I would hope that, later on in the next few years that's not really an issue, that he can go about his life as an upstanding citizen, man, and he won't have to worry about being, a target because he's black and because he's, a young man.
So your son comes home, and let's say that doesn't happen, and given the history of this country, we don't know that'll happen sooner rather than later. How do you guys plan on teaching him about relating to his blackness and being a black person?
I mean, a lot of that stuff, of course, it starts at home. I think...
And to refine it, do you guys err on the side of being colorblind, or do you just teach him there's just some things that happen because you're black? Like how do you guys... What's your theory on that?
There is no color. I mean,
well, I mean, I think colorblind in the sense that people say there's only one race. It's the human race. So, I mean, I feel like that's a good way to look at things.
It is, but is that really real?
It's not realistic, because eventually you could teach your child that, but you don't know how other people are teaching their children. So he might go to school and get smacked in the face, not literally, but somebody might call him the N-word when he's at school. You know what I mean? And he might be like, what are you talking about? Like, why are you saying that to me? I'm just like you. And somebody else might not have that view. So
then we would have to explain.
Right, you have to explain, but I would hope that we can get ahead of that and let them know how things could be, even though out here in the world, I mean, we're all the same. That's what I personally believe.
Did you struggle with that in school though?
With what?
Like, I guess, with you being raised in like,
I thought this was going to be a dark joke.
Yo, right.
She's like, but you being as dark as you are. Did you ever let us?
Not that.
With you being about 3 shades darker than me.
Because I grew up in an area where, like, literally coming to VCU, it was like a culture shock to me. Because like Chesapeake is nothing but like just black, white. You know, like we didn't really have. You may have like maybe a little bit of Indian, or like maybe 1 or 2 Indians, but VCU was like, not VCU, but you know, my high school, yes, it was like, you know, black, white. It wasn't really diverse. So when I got to VCU, it was a very culture shock. Like, I'm not trying to be funny, like I just thought that black, like you black, like I wasn't thinking, oh, your family's from Ghana, like
right.
You know what I mean? So I was trying to ask, like, how was it for you coming up?
I mean, it's kind of funny because it was different. Like, I think back in the day, people used to look at, like, because, you know, my family is from Ghana, African. So people used to look at African like, ugh, yeah, African, you know what I'm saying? You African booty scratcher type of thing.
They still say that today, just so you know.
Right, you know what I mean?
It stayed in 2nd grade.
Right. So people look at you kind of, even though you're black, you know, you might have other black kids, you know, trying to look like, oh, you know, you're African, whatever it is. I mean, it really didn't faze me like that. You know, we can go back and forth and joke all the time. But, you know, you fast forward now, people are embracing African culture. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Wearing dashikis.
Yeah. People got nappy hair now, and it's a style.
Yeah.
I couldn't rock nappy hair back in the
not
day.
with that hairline.
What's
Hairline.
Yeah, that joint faded away a couple years ago.
Nah, you and me both, man. I understand.
But yeah, you know, back in the day, you couldn't rock naps.
Yeah.
But it's popular now.
Yeah,
People
the whole
wanna be natural.
Afrocentric and the idea of natural hair.
Yeah, I mean, it's cool that it came back around, but I mean...
well, seeing that you are Ghanaian and you are not, how do you guys plan on teaching your son to relate to his African heritage? Which is, you know, for us black folk, that just plain black folk that are almost kind of bastardized from our African heritage, we kind of have to like pick up whatever we can find and be like, yeah, this is us, you know, Kwanzaa, this is ours now, you know what I mean? Yeah. Whereas you actually have a heritage you can give him. So I assume that you guys plan on letting him connect with that.
Well, I think Roman's blessed because, I mean, like, we live in the area that, you know, Harry is from, obviously. So, like, he obviously sees his side of the family way more frequently than mine. So I think, like, you know, he would fall right into that.
Right. I mean,
like, easily.
Yeah. Definitely want to keep him, you know, attached to that side of the family. You know, even his middle name is Odate, which is a family name.
Roman Odate Lamptey.
Roman Odate.
That's a name. I like that. That's a good name. I like that. Yeah. You walk in.
Odate. But I mean, I feel like, you know, even for me personally, having a direct link to where, you know, I'm from, you know, a lot of people can't say that.
Yeah.
You know, you have, you know, just African Americans that they just trace their roots back to the South.
That's
and
it.
It stops there.
Yep.
And my whole family, entire family is from Africa.
Yeah.
So like, you know, we're pretty much first generation, you know, in America. So he has a direct line, a direct link, you know, to Africa, to Ghana. And I think, you know, it's important to, you know, hopefully we'll be able to go, you know, visit, travel there. We have family that's still there, so hopefully he can have a direct connection to that culture. And I know he will, for sure.
Definitely matters. So we have 2 questions. So the first one is, what is your biggest fear in raising your child? And I think we covered it a little bit, but kind of hone in on that a little bit more.
Oh, man. I mean...
Like, and don't overthink it. Just say the first thing that pops in your head when you think of fear and your son.
I think you said it earlier, like
not
coming home, maybe.
That's a huge fear. I think. Oh, I'm sorry, I don't want to cut you off.
I mean, no parent wants to see like anything happen to their child.
Right.
So
I think any parent's biggest fear. Well, I can't speak for anybody, but for everybody. But you know, nobody wants to bury their child.
Absolutely.
That's a huge fear. I mean, you don't want you don't want anything that you like didn't instill in them to be like the cause of some type of harm to them. You know what I mean? Like it's like, oh man, I wish I would have just taught them to move differently, and maybe they could have So I mean, you hate to think like that, but at the same time, you have to think like that.
Absolutely.
Like, I want to make sure that I give them all the tools necessary to make it out here. And I would say, I mean, off the top, definitely, you don't want to bury your child.
Absolutely.
So yeah, it's kind of morbid, but
let's bring it back up.
Yeah.
So let's say 30 years in the future, you guys are older. Roman's 30 and 6 months. What makes you guys proud? So, like, think of your terms of now he's your son. He's 30 years and 6 months. What would make you the most proud of him? And know that you guys did a good job.
I think raising him in a Christian background, making sure he had that solid foundation.
Yeah, good values. I think
that's not top for me.
Those intangibles are like what you want them to have. I mean, of course you want him to be successful, and but that's subjective. You know what I mean? If he's doing what he loves to do.
It says move differently to those.
Oh yeah. Thanks, Marilyn. Explain what you mean when you say move differently. You said it more than once.
Oh yeah.
I guess just, I don't want to say behave yourself, but
that's unfortunate, but I know exactly what you mean.
Right. You want to, if you start hanging out with people that are bad influences.
Yeah.
They may kind of lead you down the wrong path, and you may get into things that aren't really becoming. Just. I'm
sorry, I was just so close to saying like super fresh.
What are you trying to say, man?
No, with you.
Y'all was whack. That was not bad influence.
I'm sorry. What was that?
What you mean? Whack?
Wait, yo.
Come on, man. Like for real.
What are you trying to say?
Oh man. Okay, we're gonna cover that later in the later episode. She said, "Yo,
how about you expound on whack?
It was whack."
And what were you?
We were getting in no trouble. I think what she said.
Yeah,
I mean, come on.
We really weren't. I mean, were we?
No.
It was like fringe trouble. Like if anything,
it was
the biggest thing we had was that one almost fight that didn't even actually happen. You remember the fight with the
back to parenting?
Don't come knocking at my door, son.
Say what? No, man. The one at Broad Belvedere, man. With the certain fraternity who I will not name.
Oh, stop it.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it said.
That's not, that wasn't,
That was the closest we came to being gangster.
Come on. I mean, that was just a misunderstanding. We'll move past that. But, I mean, just moving.
So political so quick.
Yo, I mean, if you want to be real, Ron, that was your fault.
Absolutely not. That is not true. That is 100% not true. Wait, which one are you talking about? Are you talking about the part at the Commons? That was my fault.
The Commons.
No, but when we got back to the whatever. What does move differently mean? Go ahead.
All right. Yeah, exactly. Moving differently is like just the crowd that you hang out with not being influenced by the masses. People might want to do certain things and. You may know different. You may know better, and you don't want to try to do things just to, keep up with the Joneses or feel like you're being cool. You want to instill those values to someone where they could just say, you know what, I don't want to do that. That's not me, and be kind of firm
confident
in
that.
With it. So that's kind of what I mean by move differently. You don't want to, I guess, be a follower, so to speak.
That being said, he's moving differently. He's raised in a Christian household. He has Christian values growing up, and you guys are both proud of him at 30 years and 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I mean, I think also you want your child to, I guess in a sense, be better than you.
Mm-hmm.
Because, I mean, if you go through life, you're going to make some mistakes, some missteps. And
No, you're remembering this wrong. You're remembering this wrong. We will discuss this on a later episode. We can
discuss it. But,
no, we're talking about parenting.
Listen, I mean, just all right. For instance, if you were, let's say, you were to cause of that.
God, why? All right, go ahead.
Would you consider that a mistake?
Oh, absolutely.
All right. So now you wouldn't want your child to move the way that you moved in that particular instance.
Man, I don't know, man. Like, because I think we're discounting what the other guys did before this all like went left.
Stay on track.
All right. But
Ashley, stop stirring the pot, Ashley. But no, I get what you're saying. You wouldn't want to make mistakes.
I'm trying to bring it back.
Absolutely,
I'm trying to bring it back. If you move in a different way or make some type of mistake, you want to let your child know that, okay, when I was this age, I did this. Absolutely. This was the result. It wasn't a good decision. This was the repercussions of that decision I made. Make sure if you're in this same type of situation, don't move like this.
Or make sure you got your homies riding for you.
Come on.
My homies were riding for me.
No, wait,
I don't know.
But for real though, with some things, when your parents told you, don't do this.
Of course, you're going to touch the fire.
You're going to test the fire.
Yeah, you have to. Yeah.
Every kid is going to touch the fire, no matter what you say. You could say, exactly. I mean, fire. You're going to say, don't touch it. They're going to touch it. They're going to get burned.
Absolutely.
There are certain things you're just going to have to go through with growing pains. I mean,
but did your parents?
Inevitable.
I mean, I know my parents really didn't talk to me about. I found out. I think. Well, I don't want to say that on here, but I find out things.
You really gave us a cliffhanger here. But
I'm just saying, like, I find out things about my parents that I wish they probably would have told me maybe in college or whatever.
Well, you feel like you were sheltered in some type of way?
Well, I was sheltered. But what I'm saying is that I wish they would have probably kept it a little bit real with me. Because they made it seem as though, like, they were kind of like this perfect.
Holier than thou type?
Yeah. So, like.
I can all the way agree with that. And Lady Marilyn Denise Young can, too, because there were things that we struggled with that we didn't realize our parents struggled with until after we got out of college.
Right.
And we were like, had y'all told me this, it would have been easier for me to navigate this.
Right.
So, but I actually still appreciate that about my parents because when I grew up, it humanized them.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So even like if you think about like, well, I can't speak for everybody, but like financially, my parents were immigrants, you know what I'm saying? They didn't have everything. So, they worked hard to get what they have. So you have a lot of other, counterparts that may have, generations of education and wealth and this knowledge that, they can impart into their child. And, this is something that might be, fresh for the generation coming after me, or, Roman and going forward. Because I can't say that we've had all the, knowledge on investing and saving and all that stuff. So that's definitely something that, we want to pass on to Roman, something that he knows the importance of.
Well, since we're here, what about things like drinking? Or like, how do you guys plan to have him relate to that? Like, and I know I was raised in a household where it was like, no.
Right.
No, not at all, no.
But I was raised, like, I'm not trying, like, I was raised in a household where, even with sex, like, it was not, we didn't talk about
it wasn't
that.
like a person to be sit down.
No, it was no, and I don't know because, I
think with me it kind of happened, but it was more like in passing, like, okay, you're not supposed to do this, right? It wasn't like a sit down, like, okay, this is what happens when, a baby is, I don't know if I really got that official sit down.
Do you guys think that there's some value in having those types of sit downs with Roman?
Man,
knowing that you guys didn't have it yourself?
Yes. Like we said, they're access that kids have.
Yeah.
If you don't tell them early on, they will find it, they'll see a clip.
Yeah.
Some other little kid will tell them about it.
Or show them their phone or iPad or whatever they have.
So
Google
that's
Glass.
what I'm saying. You don't know what's going on in other households. So you got to make sure that you're keeping it real in your house so that there's no surprises coming up. And, it's weird. I feel like it's just, we got to see what happens when we get there because I don't know how technology and different influences are going to happen, once he gets to that age where he's starting to, learn or be curious about that type of stuff. So, but as far as like drinking, I think you got to keep it real. I feel like if you kind of shelter them, they're going to want to like break out and get loose. At the first sign of freedom, that's what they say. They say, you know the stereotype about preachers' kids and stuff like that.
Yes, Harry.
So, you know, I mean,
but I'm saying, like, I mean, how would you introduce that to him though?
Okay,
like,
but you're saying about viewing, you know, scrolling the phones. You don't think Roman might see us drinking or something like that at a function or at the house? It's something you got to know. Okay, this is for grown people. This is for adults. You know what I mean? You can't have this right now. You know, I mean, it's something that you just gotta let them know. I feel like if you keep saying, "Oh no, never do this," eventually they're gonna sneak in the refrigerator, grab this, and.
But honestly, like I don't. I mean, I remember my parents. I remember them. Now that I look back at it, yeah, like they were like in their 20s, and I remember them now drinking. But back then, I didn't know what they were drinking.
So
like,
you're saying
my parents were like so. They hid like a lot. Like I remember, I think one time my dad was smoking a cigarette and he told me it was a firecracker. I mean, like, okay, I was probably like 4 years old, but I'm just saying, like, now that I look back at it, it's like my parents really kind of like sheltered me a little bit.
Okay. Like
I wasn't exposed to a lot of things, and I'm not saying I went wild at VCU, but when I did drink.
A lot of college students do that. I mean, are you saying you went to the next level?
You said a lot of college students?
I mean, a lot of college students, you know, drink or what have you. I mean, you disagree?
I knew some people that didn't drink like that.
Okay, yeah, we all do.
Okay.
I mean, no, we're telling too much now. So knowing that, what are your guys' like final thoughts on parenting? Like after talking all this and rehashing it out, like what would you say would be your last word right now?
On parenting, I feel like it's
a learning experience.
It's a learning experience
every single day.
I think you know a lot of people give you hints, you know, leading up to having a child, and oh man, you're not going to get no sleep. Your money is gone. Make sure you're saving this and that. And I mean, all of that stuff is pretty much true. But it's like. It's almost like on-the-job training, you know. Yeah. It's hard to predict. Every child is different. You know, some people talk about, oh yeah, my child don't even cry, man. I mean, they just wake up, eat, chilling, cuckooing, and then I put them to sleep again.
I believe they lying.
Yeah, right.
But I mean, let me stop. I'm not gonna say that, but I'm just saying, like.
So it's.
Are you talking about someone specifically?
No.
Oh, okay.
I'm not saying specifically,
right.
but when people
Mary, you're lying. You're a liar.
You want to call them out?
Yeah.
Like, no, my baby does never cry.
I mean, I'm sure some people embellish, like, you know, to make it seem like it's better than it is. But I feel like every kid is different. You got to treat them differently. And I mean, some, you know, if they're real fussy and real active, you're gonna have to act accordingly. I
think that's a good point you made. Every kid is different. So when you have the next child,
right,
you're gonna have to treat them differently.
Are you guys proud to be parents?
What? Of course.
Yeah. It's an amazing feeling.
Dude, if you can. Yo, you created a human. It's amazing, man. And you seeing their development. I mean, Roman is 6 months old, but I mean, just seeing what he's doing, you know, just being active, interacting.
Those milestones are like amazing.
Yeah.
Like, you just wake up, you be like, hold up, how did you learn how to like just sit up like this, or like hold your own bottle,
right,
or eat from this spoon, like.
How did you know to do that?
Like, how did you know to open your mouth and just like take the spoon like that? I don't know. It's just.
Or you can just see little things. Like, I feel like he's learned the power of his cry. So I mean, he might want to get picked up, and he's sitting there whining and crying.
They be lying, girl.
He's sitting there whining and crying, and as soon as he see you walk over, it's like, dude, you got me, man. All right. It's like, so it's seeing those little things. It's like, man, it's amazing just watching that growth, and you know, getting little peeks into their personality and things like that. And I mean, yo, you created somebody.
I think you create a human is going to be the quote of this episode.
Can you? I mean, it's unbelievable. I mean, like I said, I mean, it's still surreal at times. So, I mean, it's a blessing for sure. Sure.
Excellent. Well, I appreciate both you guys being on my show.
Thank you, Brian.
Thank
Love
you
the
for
show.
Having us.
Yeah, thank you. Keep watching. Tell other people about it. Share, watch, and subscribe, please.
I will.
Thanks everyone else for joining as well. We are continuing our parenting series next week. We're going to be talking to my friends AJ and Tia, who have 3 young children, and we're going to talk about them.
Tia?
Oh yeah, you do. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. Tia
Yeah.
from she's in Woodbridge. I guess I'm continuing my journey north.
Okay,
Well,
I can see that.
I could
Well, I'll be in
ask
Dale
for the
City.
3 kids.
It's still around the way. Hey, man, more power to them, man.
Yes.
Yeah.
They definitely probably know all the stories.
Oh.
Yes, they looking at us like.
They're like 6
what?
months.
Yeah,
Like,
like 6
please.
months. What you worried about? No, I'm looking forward to that one. After that, we'll do teenagers. Then we'll go to adult parents, and I'm excited about every step of the way. So please watch and subscribe on YouTube. I will be posting this on YouTube shortly. Watch and subscribe. Share with your friends. Tune in next week. Once again, this has been yet another exciting episode of 10 Minutes with Ronald, the show that nobody asked for, yet somebody is watching. Stare into the camera until I turn it off.
Okay.
Great show, Ron. Love it.
Yeah.
Appreciate you coming out.